What about an old graduate, more than 15 years? How do you explain personal issues affecting your career?
My honest opinion is to be as truthful, as transparent about it. One should not be afraid of hiding what might have happened, 15 years or so forth. I've reviewed applications like that. Folk might have had to take some break for family reasons, financial reasons, and so forth. So just be very honest, just explain what you've been doing or what was the reason for that gap. But also talk about how, whatever that might have happened at that time is still going to be, helpful in residency. For example, I had one applicant who had to take a few years off. I think she took like 4 or 5 years off because her child had autism. And so she, had to give a lot of personal attention to the child. And so I explained that, in the personal statement to explain that since graduation, I had to take a few years off to tend to my child with special needs. I'm very glad that though this was like a break in my career, the time that I spent with the child has really helped the child. It developed to a point where this person then felt comfortable applying for residency. So if you talk about how the efforts that you put in led to a good outcome, I think that's perfectly fine to talk about. Other reasons, people moving from a different country, some of them they'll move from a different country, do PhD and so forth. And so, you just have to explain that. And if there's anything that you might have done in those, as it says 15 years or so that can help you in residency. For example, someone talked about, I think they were starting a business. They started a pharmacy, if I remember correctly. And so, just talk about, again, very shortly that, there was a break from the career, but the leadership skills, the communication skills, people skills that I learned will really help me in residency also. So this way, this question comes up a lot. Should I talk about my red flags? Should I talk about, there's a long gap, 15 years since graduation is a long gap. So absolutely that needs to be discussed. Some applicants, when I talk to them, they feel quite shocked that I'm asking them to explain this in the personal statement. So, for that, I'll say there's no other place to explain this. And I really don't think, I'm not sure what people are afraid of, if they don't describe this. It's not that the personal statement will not know that there are 15 years of gap. I really feel people should, I always suggest them to take ownership and explain how, the responsibility that you took during this time, in a way, in some way made you a better doctor as best as you can. Unfortunately, there were some family reasons, marital issues, difficulties that caused a gap. And again, for example, in that situation, I told him, okay, just write in a sentence that, you had to take a break because you had to take some gap because of dealing with marital difficulties, but that the family support really has allowed you to be in a situation where you can apply for residency. And so, I guess you just have to make the best of every situation and just present yourself. And yes, realize these are red flags, like a long duration since graduation, an unsuccessful attempt in USMLE. That's something that needs explaining. And the personal statement is the only way. I kind of talk about in my course. It's like a 4th paragraph. That seems to be the best place to explain red flags. But, a low score on USMLE, that's not really a red flag. Some people talk like a year since graduation. That's not really a red flag, and that doesn't need any explaining.
Okay. Thank you so much.